everybody, it is Ebontis, and we're here today to talk about Vessel of Hatred, the Diablo 4 expansion coming out on October 8th. Technically the 7th if you're in the Americas, because I think it's October 7th at 4 p.m. Pacific. Depending on where you are around the world, you can translate from there. For me, it's like 6 p.m. Either way, we have a new expansion coming, and I kind of want to give you guys a couple caveats for this interview. First off, I was provided a code, or basically access, I would say, to this one, because my characters will be wiped, so everybody starts fresh when servers go live. But I was provided access by Microsoft and Blizzard to play early, so thank you guys for that one. It was very appreciated to be able to put this review and some of my footage I've got together. Second thing, my play time in Diablo was a lot with when it came out. So I played a lot, got up to nearly level 100, did a pretty good amount of it, but, you know, thought I experienced a lot before the first season came out. And then when the first season came out, I was kind of waiting to see if I was going to cash in my token. I play a lot of different things, so it was kind of spread thin, and I heard it was kind of only okay. Then season 2 came, season 3, hearing better things, season 4, Loot 2.0, people were getting pretty excited. Season 5, I think people have been having fun the more the seasons have gone on, because what Blizzard has been doing with the seasons has been improving things, listening to community feedback, and generally I've heard positive vibes about the game. It had gone on long enough, and I've still been pretty swamped doing many things for the channel, and finally getting to the point where we're like, okay, I'm just going to jump in for the expansion, and that feels like a good time to do it. Now, when I jumped in, as I said, it's one of those games that, if you haven't played in a while, it takes a little bit to ramp up to speed. Nice thing was, starting with a new character, I just kind of hit the ground completely blind because I didn't even know how the new build was going to work or anything like that. So I started as a level 1 Spiritborn, and all I did is I skipped the base campaign and I went straight into the new campaign. Now, some changes, I'm not going to cover every single patch change they made, but the level cap is now 60. Loot is definitely a lot more generous. Your experience is going to be a lot faster. And the reason I say that is because I played through the campaign on the lowest difficulty. I played through it on normal. Not on hard, expert, penitent, none of that. I literally played through it on normal because I was solo, I was by myself, and I was actually pretty limited for time compared to some other people who probably reviewed it higher and with other people. So my experience was truly straight up, you log in, don't change the difficulty, and that is how you play. If you want to play it higher, by all means, you can see more experience, more gold, all of that will be fun. I played through it on normal. Even on normal, by the time I finished up the campaign, was doing some of the, like, epilogue quests, you could call them, to go do some things that will unlock other activities. I unlocked my other mercenaries, and still haven't done every side quest down here in the bottom. Like, if you go look around, there's plenty of side quests for me to go do with all the blue circles and some other stuff that I still haven't even probably picked up. I was like level 54, 55, 56 as that stuff was wrapping up. Then I kind of got pulled through some stuff last night, so I kind of blasted through the final few levels because I got some higher experience. But generally, I can pretty comfortably tell you that if you just jump in and you skip the old campaign with, say, a new seasonal character, and you just go play the new expansion content, most likely at whatever difficulty you play through as, you're going to finish at 50 plus. You're going to, I ended up with almost all, I think I was missing one legendary in my gear slots, but I was basically full legendaries for my Spiritborn. And, you know, I was working on collecting some sockets, had some runes, which are new for this, and some other stuff that was going on. But that was just playing the new expansion content and like the epilogue quest and a couple other things. And it really was just, I think they have found a good tuning to the, I mean, there was a point where you finish a quest and you get like 1 or 2 levels of experience, and it's like, is that right? And from what I've seen in a couple of places, I'm pretty sure it is. They don't care how long it takes you to get to level 60. They are happy getting you there pretty quickly just by playing the expansion content and story. That doesn't even include the seasonal things. That doesn't include every side quest. That doesn't include the new Undercity or the raid or anything else really to get there. So ending up at like level 55 out of 60, and then that's truly all I need to max out my skill tree with all the points that I'm going to have. I love that. I appreciate that they made it a very smooth experience, and overall difficulty seemed to be tuned totally fine. I probably could have cranked it up once I got some decent gear, because normal is pretty easy, but I was truly trying to blast through to experience as much as I could. So, leveling, scaling, all of that I think is in a really good spot right now. And again, I'm not trying to grind out up to level 100 for no reason after I finish the campaign. 5 levels away, now I can really start working on top level gear, working on higher nightmare dungeons and torment levels and all of those things to take things to the next level. So my overall just like playthrough, leveling experience, gear and all of that, I think the hype is real. It is in a very good place right now, and I can kind of confirm that this expansion is tuned damn near perfectly for how it is going to be to get through your levels just playing the new content. So, second piece of feedback we're going to talk about here is about the Spiritborn. I played it the entire time, really didn't experience any other classes in this preview time window because I wanted to experience the new one. And I got to be honest and say, I think they did an excellent job with it. So when it comes to the new subclass, you've got 4 ways to play it, which I think gives you a lot of versatility. So Centipede is going to be poison, damage over time. You've got some fear involved. You're going to have the Jaguar, which is thrashing, mobility, and just kind of moving around, definitely speedy of the 4. To me, the Eagle did feel on the weaker side. So that's kind of one of those things I'm going to have to see it play out. It's the one I spent the least time with, I would probably say. And then you've got the Gorilla, exactly as you would expect, slow, but big hits and strikes, and you've got things like your Crushing Hand for ground pounding, and then if you come down here, you've got Armored Hide or Concussive Stomps. You've got the Payback, so it's truly, you know, when you are attacked, you have a chance to truly pay back the damage. And then the Protector, you'll protect an area for 6 seconds, continuously smashing the ground for massive chunks of damage, give you a barrier. It really is going to give you very different ways to play the game because you've got a big gorilla with protection versus a giant centipede blasting enemies for poison damage, blast damage, cooldown. Like, so much that goes into each of these subclasses feel really good. And I know when you have a subclass that can do a lot of things, you worry about it being a jack of all trades, master of none. That's one of those things that some of those, you know, universal tools kind of fail at. My feeling so far, and again, I haven't compared it with every nitty gritty and the perfect builds, and I'm not one of the elite Diablo players, but my feeling so far is if you find the right gear and you can lean into a playstyle properly, you can play all 4 very well once you kind of figure out the playstyle, figure out what works. Again, I said Eagle to me was the weakest, but I think probably with, you know, maybe some good uniques or whatever kind of makes everything come together, you're also going to be able to combine some of these. So when it comes to the Spiritborn, you have the Spirit Hall, and you can actually combine both playstyles. So if you go both Centipede, I can have like my main effect and then my bottom effect, but maybe I want to go Centipede and I want to pair it with something like Gorilla. That can be something I can do as well. Maybe Maximum Resolve helps out. If I want to go with Eagle, for every bit I move, I've got some critical chance. So you can lean into some different playstyles. I just went full Centipede just to go full Cent on that playstyle. But to me, so far, I had a lot of fun with Centipede. Jaguar is very fast. Gorilla's big and chunky. I was actually very surprised that I kind of gravitated back towards the Centipede. The ultimate is awesome because it lingers for a really long time. It says 15 seconds, and you can even run to another side, like part of a dungeon. It will kind of go into the ground and it'll pop up next to you. So you don't even lose it if you move like rooms or decent like areas. It's going to follow you, which was really, really appreciated. The ultimate for the Eagle swoops down, deals some damage. After a short delay, it blasts off doing more. That's just kind of a one-off more than anything. I really like the lingering effects of this guy. The Hunter jumps across the battlefield, slashing damage. And again, I'm very much set up for Centipede right now. So that's why this stuff is probably going to be stronger versus some of the other ones. And then, as you guys can see here, this is a little more protection, barrier. And it depends on if you're playing in a group, if you're playing by yourself. But again, I think this is a very versatile subclass that is going to play well for a lot of people, and I had a lot of fun with it. Then you lean into some Paragon boards and some other things that you'll get through, and there is going to be some really, really, really fun stuff to do in here. So my thoughts on the Spiritborn are an extremely well put together subclass, feels unique depending on which, you know, animalistic property you want to play with. And as you work through the game, you can experiment between different playstyles because the refunds, they're really cheap. Like if I want to refund everything, it's 200,000 gold. As I've been playing through at this crazy level that I'm at now, I've got like 10 million. I'm good. So the respecs, especially as you work your way up, not going to be a big deal. And it's going to allow you that you are pretty much going to be able to experiment with 4 different playstyles pretty frequently and find the one you like without having to make 4 different characters. And I really appreciate just the versatility of that. So if you haven't played in a while, this is actually the one I recommend because it's the new class, but 2, that way you're like, oh, I picked the mage. Well, I'm not really loving the mage. Maybe I want to do the necro and you got to start all over. No, just do the Spiritborn, have fun with the unique nature of it, and find a playstyle that's going to work, because one of the 4 is probably going to work for most everybody. So the Spiritborn for me is a big thumbs up, and I think there's a lot of potential in here with some cool stuff. I got a couple uniques. So skills. So this one is the Loyalty's Mantle. The Spirit Hall choices matter more, so the bonuses are going to be 100% more potent. Skills of the base Spirit gain 60% Vigor cost reduction, and skills of the base Spirit gain 60% cooldown reduction. So, Vigor cost reduction and cooldown reduction. So, this is your base Spirit. This is kind of your bonus one you can throw in. So, if you go like full Centipede, my cooldown for this is not that long. It says 40 seconds, but honestly, I have it coming up a lot quicker than that. Feels like it's about half of that, so by the time I'm done just kind of goofing around with it, it's not going to take that long, and my ultimate comes back pretty quickly. So you're going to have some really potent things in here. I've got one here for Pestilent Swarms, now orbit around me, so that's just those things, and if they hit anything, it's Vigor. I've been messing around in dungeons. They've spinning, like, I've had many of them spinning around me quite frequently, doing a lot of damage. So I know there's going to be so much more in-depth in characters and builds and other things, but I will tell you, I don't think you're going to go wrong playing Spiritborn if you feel like the other classes may be more specialized or stronger. I think the Spiritborn is going to be able to hold its own fine, and the versatility of how you want to play is probably going to work well for people who are like me, who are returning players looking to experience kind of a fresh Diablo 4 take, like with Vessel of Hatred, new campaign, new character, different playstyles. I think you're going to be a really good spot. If you just want to go Necro or Mage or whatever you want to do, that's fine. But I definitely can recommend the Spiritborn. I had no problems getting through all the content I was playing, and it's probably only going to get better as you go. Now, the one thing I don't want to do is spoil anything story-wise, so I don't really want to show like the main city per se, but it is going to be another city that you can go into. As you can see, you got plenty of side quests and waypoints. One of the things I do really want to talk about are the Mercenaries. Now, there are quests where you go through and unlock the Mercenaries. 1 is part of the main campaign, 3 are additional quests. And as you work through the campaign, you're going to have 1 with you most of the time. Then when you go unlock the other 3, you're actually going to be able to kind of trade off which ones you want to be with you all of the time. And as you can see, like Rahir was with me all the time. He's the one in the campaign that you get. And he's going to be kind of more your protection warrior. But you've also got your bounty hunter. It's going to be more of a ranger and a shooter. You've got the berserker. And then you've also got a very unique one over here with the Cursed Child. Now, the cool thing about your mercenaries, you're going to have a hired mercenary who's going to be with you all the time. So I've got Rahir, and he's actually going to have a skill tree that you can level up. So I went with Shield Charge. You could totally switch it out and do Ground Slam. And you can change how he's going to play. If I use potions, he's going to taunt. So that's actually a really cool combination. And it really just kind of depends on what you want them to play as. So if you want Mercenary Iconic, this is their main skill that they're going to have. Strikes down 3 times, dealing damage, pulling enemies in. That actually works really well for some of my skills, so that's kind of why I stuck with him. And you've actually got a skill tree for your mercenary. You've also got Rapport. So you're going to give him the skill points as you level him up. Then you're going to get some rewards from him as you go. You're also going to get some tokens that you use for bartering in here. And just generally, he is going to be more of your defensive type. So as I said, this is going to be more of your ranger. So if you're more in the warrior upfront playstyle and you want somebody assisting you, this is going to be there. More of your kind of magic style without explaining too much. I don't want to spoil too much on that one, but that's just kind of unique. And of course, just your crazy berserker. It's exactly what you would expect. Now, one of the cool things you're going to notice is I have 2. So you have one that is with you all the time. Notice how it says hired mercenary with you all the time. They gain rapport while fighting by my side consistently all the time. The reinforcement I think is a really cool thing because I do a lot of stuff as a solo player. So again, I'm always looking to see how is my experience going to be as a solo player running around. Well, when it comes to your reinforcement, you've got the option now to have a second mercenary with you. And the way it works is they assist you on a command, and you set it up to where they're going to assist you with a specific attack. So they're going to assist me with one of these attacks when I cast currently it's set up for my ultimate. So when I cast my ultimate, he's going to come in a flame surge and just do a cone of flame for 4 seconds. And I feel like that was like, I'm looking for big damage, figure I'd lean more into that one. On the other side, he could chain up enemies. There's, haunting and fear that you could do if you feel like you need protection. So you can set them up to work in a way that's going to be beneficial to you. And I can also see that if I made him my hired character, that I would actually be already through his first 4 tiers. So I could spec his skills out if I just hired him directly. But the fact that, like, you've got one that's with you all the time, going to work with these skills that you choose, function as you kind of pick with the skill points, but also when you do specific tasks, you're going to bring an extra reinforcement in just kind of for that one quick attack, that one-off moment. And the nice thing is they're still going to earn rapport, but they're going to do it at a slower rate, not quite as frequent. But if you go through a lot of the campaign with the main guy here that you have, and then later on you're like, I kind of want to try 2 of them and level them up, well, pick 2 of the new ones. They're both going to level up, just one's going to level up a little slower, but you're still going to be able to get the benefits of using 2 different ones. And then guess what? When you get them leveled up here, outside of like different rewards that you'll get, then you could swap them out. He could be my mercenary if I still want to finish him up, and then I can really work on the experience of having, a spellcaster with me at that point. So the mercenary system for a solo player, especially like me, is fantastic because it really does help add a build and a playstyle to have somebody else with you. They never really felt like they were the way. They may not be the strongest in the world, I'll be honest. It's not like I'm going to go gear them out, but for the help that they will bring to the table really does make a difference. And for me, it's just like, it's really nice. This is the den for the mercenaries. When you do quests, you'll eventually get them back here. A nice place in the den. You'll have, a stash that you can interact with and a couple of other things in here. You've got blacksmith if you need to. And you'll have Feyira for bartering that you'll use to purchase different things if you want to. Maybe I want to buy a legendary cache. I've got the currency where I could do that. I could straight up just buy a weapon. Maybe not quite at the best level for buying it at the moment. And that could just be something that they'll work on a little bit later for the levels that you can buy. But I will tell you, overall, mercenary system, honestly, just a great bonus. And especially for a solo player like me, I like the versatility of what the 4 characters can offer. The skills where you can kind of lean them into a specific playstyle. And the reinforcement gives this whole system like a lot more flexibility, how you level them up, how you use them. You can mix and match them how you want to. And I think everybody who runs around kind of just doing some basic leveling on your own, especially on a higher level, you're going to appreciate having them with you. I think it's a great system, and I'm very happy it's in here. So for the new territory, Nahantu, you've got a big focus on kind of the Spiritborn. It's what the new expansion is about, and you'll kind of get some experience over that. I'm not going to give any story-related things, but just know it is a little bit based around that, and it's a very cool place to experience. As for the campaign itself, I'm not going to give any spoilers away. I think it was good. I don't know if it was like the best story. It feels like the second act when you're waiting for the third now. It's not bad. Cool things happen in Empire Strikes Back, but, things are left kind of... There's still, things up in the air. Plates are still spinning. We haven't quite figured out where everything's going to land yet. And without spoiling anything, I think the campaign is good. I just don't think it's like a fantastic one. Cinematics are still like, on another level. Great detail. Cool fights and stuff like that in there. I'm sure there's going to be a beast one at some point that you get to for high-level in-game type stuff. But overall, I don't want to give too much away on the campaign. I thought it was just good. I think it could have been a little better. Some of the characters I felt were underutilized. Some of the twists you may or may not see coming. But overall, I think it's a good campaign. And, I enjoyed my time. Replaying it a lot may not be everybody's favorite thing to do, but at least going through it once, I think, is a solid experience. Now, the world itself, you can see you've got 2 kind of red sand areas. And then you've also got a couple that are going to be more very jungle, trees, foresty. Not really swampy, even though it kind of has that. It's probably very humid. I would say that it's probably a very humid situation, but it is kind of one of those areas to where it is definitely going to be forests, trees, treetops, canopy, all that type of stuff that they described previously. But as you're kind of running around in any of these areas, you're going to realize that these are the 2 main biomes that you've got. The kind of greenery tree area, and then the red sand, at least for, aesthetics. When I went through the dungeons, though, the ones that I've gone through so far, pretty solid. They are more Diablo dungeons, and this is kind of where you get to the point in the review is like, what are you looking for in this game? Is it more Diablo? If you've been playing every season and you're looking for more Diablo, you've got the seasonal content coming. And I think for somebody like me, this is a good time to come back and experience Diablo. Is this the time where you get hooked in and now you play every season? Maybe. Is this the time where you come back for the expansion, experience the story, then you want to check out a new character like, say, the Spiritborn, and you've got that under your belt now. When you're done, you'll figure out how much more you want to experience. That's also totally fine. My overall experience with the game itself is it's a solid campaign. The class is a lot of fun to play. I think the new destination is just well designed, lots of stuff going on, and you've got some end game things too. So you've got the Undercity that you can do. It's like a timed dungeon. If you're going through that and blasting through it, you'll get some more rewards. Helltides are everywhere, which I know is like an older thing, but even you'll notice you'll bump into those more frequently. There is basically a 3-winged raid now for end game type stuff that I got to experience. I'm not going to spoil any of that for you, but for the end game players, you've definitely got something to look forward to here big time. You have to get up to Torment 1 to unlock it, but when you do get there, that is going to be a challenge that I think people have been probably waiting on and looking forward to. But also the ability to go through a timed dungeon with your mercenaries is something a solo player probably didn't have the best experience with before, and now you've got some more options to kind of bring a different battle to everything the game is going to throw at you. Yes, you still will probably go visit the Tree of Whispers, you're going to fight world bosses, and you're going to have the seasonal content, but overall, in my personal experience, I'm going to give this an easy 8 out of 10. I don't think a 7 is fair, because I think it does too many things right. The campaign, not the strongest story, but there's still some cool moments in there. Definitely when it comes to the big moments, you're going to enjoy those as usual. Some things were probably undercooked, I feel, in the campaign and could have used a little bit more, but that's just a personal preference on my end. But outside of just kind of the story on a ranking, everything else in the game that they brought to it is more in-game, more challenges, more help for solo players, bigger experience, a really well-polished new class in the Spiritborn with lots of varieties of playstyle. And honestly, for me, if you're looking to either get back into Diablo, it is a great time to do it because, as I said, brand new character, experience the new one, and just the campaign almost hit level cap. You don't even have to do a whole lot more than that, and you're going to have a very good time. If you want to go deep into the in-game, leveling up, going for ancestrals and uniques and every other piece of the min-maxing that you always are going to do in Diablo, maxing on your Paragon board and everything else, you have many ways to do that, and also quite a few more. So, to me, it's a very solid expansion. I think it's going to land well with a lot of people. Technically, on my end, I did have a little bit of technical struggles, but I don't know if that's just my computer at this point, because I feel like I've had some crashes recently in multiple different games, so I don't want to hold too much against Diablo there, but I did have some times where it did crash on me straight to desktop. Running a 3090 and a 5950X, but as I said, may just be my PC, so biggest thing I can say is your, journey through the game, technical bumps in the road may or may not be there, could just be how the experience goes for you. But overall, I will say, it generally ran smooth most of the time. The crashes were infrequent, but they were enough that there's something I did personally want to mention in case that's something that's fixed in the day one patch. That may not even be an issue. But my experience was probably, held back a little bit by that. I don't know if I could go any higher than an 8 with the crashes that I had at certain points. There was one quest where it crashed multiple times and I had to redo a section, kind of a little frustrating at a point. But overall, it's not something that, in the middle of a raid that I really experienced, that kind of thing. So it was there enough that I wanted to mention it, but not so much that it detracted from me. When it comes to the reason I'm also keeping the screen kind of clear and mostly just me talking, I might have put some other footage in here, but generally I try not to spoil things for you guys, so I might just put some combat footage in here so you guys can just see some gameplay as how it's going. I try not to spoil much at all. I don't want to show you every single dungeon, walk around the area, show you the brand new city. I want you guys to experience that. When you get there and you see it for the first time, let that be a little bit of newness for you as opposed to spoil everything in the review. But for me, I think this expansion gets a nice 8 out of 10. I think that is a fair score. I could understand somebody if they had a bad technical experience being a little lower, or if the story didn't land with them and the Mercenaries aren't much for you because you're more of a group player. I don't have much of a vote on the seasonal content. That's just one I didn't experience too much, but that is also happening at the same time as this launch. So again, if you're looking for things to do in Diablo, whether it's been a lot of time or a little bit of time, you've got a lot of new things going on right now. So if you make that new seasonal character for Vessel of Hatred, lots of stuff to do for this expansion and this current season that is coming out soon. If you guys enjoyed the review, drop a like below, leave a comment when you get to playing, your thoughts. If you've already well versed yourself in what's coming and you have questions, I can answer what I can. But to everybody out there, I hope you got something out of this review that steers you to make a decision. If you are on the fence and maybe this one actually sounds cool and intriguing, if the subclass sounds exciting to you, then maybe that's the thing that you were looking for. If you were really hoping the story was banger and you're like, it kind of sounds, I don't know, that, take a couple other reviews into opinion and, average everybody. So that's kind of where I'm going to leave this one. Thank you all very much. If you do want to support the content, you can find me on Twitch or Twitter at Ebontis. If you enjoyed this one, easy way to support the channel is drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. If you want to go the extra mile for Patreon and memberships, of course, always appreciated, but never required. Thank you all very much. Have an excellent one, and I'll see you soon.